and like UFC 200.
Let's talk about that.
I literally...
What happened?
I did everything that I could to be back in the position to win that belt back. I was getting ready to just show this triumphant, amazing story of someone who just made it through a hit-and-run situation, had everything taken from him, and got it all back. And then I'm sorry, I'm thinking about so many things at once. I'm having
So let's just talk about what happened. You tested positive for some estrogen inhibitors.
Yeah, estrogen blockers.
Estrogen blockers that a lot of people associate with people who take steroids. When people take steroids, they want to restart their system, or if you want a testosterone boost, you take Clomid or Clomiphene, and these are standard drugs in the steroid users' world.
Yeah, this is all new for me.
Yeah.
Basically,
what did you take?
So I took an off-brand Cialis pill.
Off-brand.
It wasn't actual Cialis, but it was described to me as being a Cialis, and so I thought it was a Cialis, and I just took it. So
why does a guy like you need Cialis?
I have a huge cock, Joe.
It's too big?
It's too big.
That's a good answer. You don't have the resources to get it normally? Just need...
Yeah, you know,
You were partying?
No, I wasn't even necessarily partying, no. I've taken, like, male enhancement before, and for people who haven't taken it, you literally, you know, you go from being like that to just, it puts the twist at the end of a punch.
Twist at the end of a punch.
You know what I mean?
Right.
It's a good time. You know? And
it's a good time. That's going to be a quote, John Jones. It's a good time. Now, what was this, like one of those gas station rhino pills?
Yeah,
One of those things?
No, I had a teammate basically tell me, hey, he was talking about how his girlfriend's a pharmacist and he's capable of getting all this stuff and all that type of stuff. And I was like, well, I don't do drugs or anything like that. And he's like, you ever take a Cialis? And I was like, yeah. He's like, I got a Cialis. And I was like...
But you said you don't do drugs or anything like that, but you had done drugs.
Well, yeah. But no, he was talking about all these painkillers and all this different shit that he has.
Other things on top. Yeah.
That he has because his girlfriend's a pharmacist. And he was...
Where's she getting this off-brand stuff from? It's like...
I don't know.
People get a lot of stuff from China. I mean, that's what happened with Anderson.
Yeah.
Anderson got liquid Cialis from China, and it was tainted.
Yeah. Wow.
This happens. I know for a fact I mean, everyone knows for a fact it happens. The supplement industry has a giant issue with the people that mix the stuff. Like if you have a vat and you're mixing up whatever creatine or something like that, and right before, I mean, if this is done in some country or some place that doesn't have excellent standards, it's not scrupulous. You could be scooping up steroids in the batch before that, and you just throw the creatine in it, and some of it gets contaminated.
Yeah.
They don't clean it.
Yeah, and that's pretty much... well, I'll get to that, but
okay. So you take this off-brand Cialis.
Yeah, the guy's like, you ever do like Cialis, Viagra's, and all that stuff, and I'm like, yeah, I've had male enhancement pills before, and he's like, oh, I got Cialis, and I'm like, oh, this is great. So I ended up taking one of the Cialis pills, and I thought everything was fine and dandy. I had no clue, that I was now having something else in me that was illegal. I took the Cialis pill on June the 14th, June 16th. USADA came over to my house 6 o'clock in the morning. Hey, what's up, guys? Got coffee going, offering everybody water bottles. Super nice, hospitable, come in. Laughing and joking with them. I had no clue that test was going to be the test that derailed my life. And, right before UFC 200, my manager, Malky, calls me over to his hotel room, and he's like, hey, I want to talk to you, man. I'm like, what's going on? He's like, hey, you're not going to be fighting. I was like, what are you talking about? He's like, you didn't pass your drug test. And the level of hurt and confusion, and I literally had an anxiety attack, and I had never had one of those before.
What did that feel like?
I felt like the whole room just came in on me. Like, the whole room came down on me, and I couldn't breathe. I remember opening up his hotel window, looking for a balcony so I could just breathe and realize that I'm, like, not trapped. There's literally, the window opened that much. I was like, what the fuck?
So you don't jump out.
I'm like,
is it a hotel in Vegas? Where was it?
Yeah, in Vegas.
Fucking.
I'm breathing.
They don't want gamblers leaping.
through the fucking, I'm breathing through the thing, calm myself down, and I instantly started thinking about the weight of I had the weight of the world literally on my back. I knew that I wasn't going to be fighting a few hours before everyone else knew, the public knew, and I could already start hearing everything. Even my own coaches were looking at me like, just their hearts were on the floor. Like, I had done so much to get back to fighting at UFC 200, like getting my life in order, getting the people around me in order, getting my health, my mind, just being in order to beat DC. And like literally right now, I've done so much of the right things to be back in a good position. And right now, people look at me as if I still don't have my shit together. But the only thing that I did was I took a pill that I thought was gonna give me a boner, and it's caused me a lot of heartache and a lot of disappointment and a lot of just threw me back.
Did you think in any way, shape, or form when someone gives you this pill and you don't know where it came from, you don't know what? Did you think, man, I don't know what's in this?
No, I didn't. No, I didn't think of it because I have been dealing with the athletic commission. I've been in the UFC for a long time. And I've taken little gas station dick pills before, and I've never failed a drug test, ever.
Right, and but did you ever think that you might have got lucky?
No, I didn't think I got lucky. I thought that you failed drug tests when you're doing sketchy shit.
Right, but didn't you think there might be some sketchy shit, some Chinese gas station rhino dick pill?
What do you know about the rhinos?
My friend Brian called it. He was on the podcast. He said, John likes to party. I bet he took one of them dick pills.
No, that's funny.
He called it.
Yeah. Well, he was on. I've taken them several times before, and with the Nevada State Athletic Commission, I always pass my drug tests, and I know that I would never do anything to cheat this sport. I have a lot of pride in my work ethic, and knowing that, dude, I've been skinny my whole career, whooping people's ass. I'm not a knockout artist. I win because I'm smart. And, I work hard. But with the Nevada Athletic Commission, I never had an issue. And then I was suspended when USADA came. So I was never really educated on how serious USADA really was. Like, I came back into the game, and there's like, oh, we got this new company named USADA instead of Nevada.
What were you suspended for when USADA came? Oh, you mean when they came into the sport? I understand what you're saying. Not when they came into your house.
No, when USADA came into the sport, okay. I was
suspended
because of my hit and run. Right. And so I never had even met anyone who worked for USADA. I never been set down on a USADA seminar, what to do and what not to do, and how serious it is, and what could happen if you do this. And the only thing I knew is I had to report where I was at. Like, if I go to LA for the weekend, I got to let USADA know that I'm in LA because they can drug test me at any time. That's the only thing I really knew about USADA. I didn't know that doing something that I had done several times before could ultimately lose me a fight. So the only difference was I had taken like little gas station pills, and I've taken Viagra before. This teammate gave me something that was Cialis. I thought the only thing that it would do was make me bigger and stronger for longer. That's all I thought was going to be happening.
Right.
And then when I find out that I just failed the drug test.
Do you know that Viagra is actually illegal in the Olympics?
I didn't know that.
Yeah, no. You can't take that stuff. The Viagra is a performance enhancer. It's a vasodilator, I believe. I believe that's how they describe it, and it actually has athletic performance enhancing properties to it.
How does it help you?
I don't know. You'd have to look into that, but I think it's similar to in a lot of ways to nitric oxide supplements.
Like a pre-workout,
mm-hmm.
get your
blood
cells open.
It does something to open up your blood cells and get you pumped. I mean, it does something not just to your dick, but to all of your muscle.
Mm. Yeah, I don't know if I would want to be pumped up during a fight.
I don't think it works that way. I mean, I think it actually can potentially help endurance.
Well.
Yeah, I know, but I know that athletes take it for that reason. That's why it's banned from the Olympics.
Yeah, but yeah,
I understand that wasn't your intention.
It was not my intention.
Right.
I had no clue that I needed to report this to USADA because I thought, literally I was reporting everything else. What supplements, what pre-workout, what, my amino acids,
right,
my protein powder. Like USADA had all my stuff.
So what happens once you find out? How'd you narrow it down to this pill?
I literally, I went through my supplements and I handed it to. I hired a private lab and a lawyer, and we started giving them everything that I took, which isn't really a lot of stuff at all. You know, stuff that everyone should take: fish oil, basic supplements, protein powder, fish oil, you know, liver cleanse it, like, or whatever. Just
grapeseed extract, that kind of stuff.
Yeah, just very, you know, multivitamins for men. Basic, very basic stuff.
Okay.
And then Gat Nutrition was like, you know, we've scanned all of our stuff. We know it's not from
that Gat Nutrition website, though, is fucking hilarious. We went to the Gat Nutrition website the moment we found out about it. That someone said, John's sponsored by Gat Nutrition. So we go, okay, let's check that out. Gat Nutrition is some fucking dude is just jacked.
Well, they have a lot of great products that if you want to get big and strong, then you can definitely go to them. You know.
But as soon as we saw that, we were like, "What in the holy fuck is he taking?"
Oh no, no.
I mean, but people saw you. You got gigantic from the powerlifting.
Ironically, completely natural. That's why I have great pride in being a natural athlete. But so they got all the GAT stuff tested and clear, right? Everything was clear. Does GAT have other things that USADA don't regulate? Absolutely, but the things that they gave me, they were super smart about, and all the products I was taking were clear. And so my manager was like, think outside of the box. Like, did you take anything that could have possibly been? And I was like, I don't think so. Then I was like, well, one of my teammates did give me this dick pill, and he's like, I need those. So we got those pills tested, and sure enough, they in their ingredients they listed about 5 products in their ingredients, and they actually there was actually like 7 products, 2 that weren't listed in the ingredients. The 2 estrogen blockers were never in their ingredients, so it was a tainted pill. You understand what I'm saying?
Yes.
So the USADA was able to tell, okay, this was totally inattentional. There's no way in hell John would take these estrogen blockers. First of all, there was very small traces, so it wasn't like I was loaded up with estrogen blockers.
Right.
And
why the fuck would they put estrogen blockers in a dick pill in the first place?
Pill? We believe that the factory that created these dick pills were maybe manufacturing these pills in a dirty laboratory or whatever, and they were
so it's just tainted.
Yes, because each pill that we had tested, some of them had more estrogen blockers, some had almost no estrogen blockers, some had small traces. Actually, none of the pills were consistent, so it was obvious that. And we tested several different packages, so it was obvious that these pills were probably getting made in the same machine, and there was just traces.
Right.
Literally,
which is enough to show up in your system.
Yeah,
when you get drug
literally,
tested.
we found some of these dick pills that had no estrogen blockers.
And you're like, damn, why did I get that one?
Yeah, exactly. So I took one that was just contaminated enough, and literally I got tested 2 days later, and it was in my system. So it was obvious that it was a complete accident.
Right.
And even if I would have reported the dick pill to USADA, they would have read the label, and the label would have never said that it was estrogen blocker in there, and I still would have had a dirty.
Right.
Because of the contaminated pill.
Where does that leave you? How much time did they suspend you for?
I got suspended for a year, starting from back in July. So now I fight in July of 2017.
I love USADA. I love what they're doing. I don't agree with things like that. I don't agree with things like that because what you took does not enhance your performance.
No, it doesn't.
It's especially in such a trace amount. I feel like in certain circumstances, like there's been several fighters, like Chad Mendez. He has, I believe, he has eczema, and he was taking an eczema cream that had some sort of was it a hormone precursor or a hormone peptide? I believe some sort of hormone peptide. I think that enhances the use of this cream. I don't know the full. I'm obviously not a doctor or a scientist, but there's something about suspending someone for something like that that seems ridiculous.
Yeah. Well, in my situation, even USADA's lawyer, he showed a little bit of remorse. I could feel that he felt bad about what was happening to me, because I think he could really, even the arbitrators, they could tell what had actually happened.
Right.
But their problem was, they said John was just negligent. Like, you should have reported this pill.
But that doesn't, it seems to me that's silly. I mean, that's
but
not...
even if I would have reported the pill, they would have read the ingredients and they would have never saw that there was a trace of something that wasn't advertised.
So why suspend someone for something like that?
Because they said
they have a zero tolerance policy.
It was just like, I was the first fighter to ever take them into arbitration, and they were more upset that I didn't let them know that I took the pill than what actually happened. There's like the rule is you tell us what you take, and we can point you in a different direction.
Right.
But I never told them what I took. My whole argument was, even if I told you what I took,
right,
it still was never on the label.
Yeah.
So unless you guys were going to spend all the money to take it to a private lab or take it to a laboratory to test this individual pill, you get what I'm saying? I still would have ran into the same situation.
I think it's great to protect people from people that are cheating. I don't think it's great to punish someone for taking something that has a trace amount of something that does them absolutely no benefit whatsoever, and clearly...
And wasn't supposed to be in that pill.
And wasn't supposed to be in that pill, and clearly wasn't being taken to enhance athletic performance.
Right.
That seems silly.
Yeah.
It seems like a mess.
Right.
It seems like a mess that, I mean, I understand there's zero tolerance policy. I don't agree with it in this, or the Chad Mendes situation. You know, there's weird ones like Yoel Romero. He tested positive for something. They found out that it was in one of the protein powders or something he was taking. It wasn't supposed to be in there. It wasn't listed that way. And they gave him an abbreviated sentence.
He should have had no punishment whatsoever.
It's
but
just, I mean...
My whole thing, Joe, is I'm so grateful. I'm so optimistic, man. I'm always looking for light in every situation. And I think that's the way I deal with things. I always believe there's going to be good at the end of the day. That's just how I am. And I'm just so grateful. Where most people would be so upset with themselves and all this type of stuff, I'm really not. I'm upset about the fans that I let down who flew out to UFC 200 and things like that. But as far as the whole situation, I'm just glad that my name will no longer be associated with steroids. Right. I'd rather be Boner Boy or whatever you want to call me. You know, whatever you want to call me. But steroids, that was really bothering me. So I'm just glad that it's out what actually happened.
Why did they choose to suspend you for so long?
Just because of the negligence behind it. They didn't like the fact that I was handed a sex pill and I never returned it. I never turned it into them to check it out.
And if they did, they still would have kicked you off of UFC 200.
And yeah, exactly. So I don't know.
I mean, they would have given you maybe a more abbreviated suspension, but still, it just seems ridiculous.
I wonder when we hand pills into USADA or hand anything into the USADA, do they read the label and say, "Oh yeah, you can take this," or do they actually take it somewhere and test it?
I'm sure they read the label. I mean, if they did that,
so we still would have been in the same position.
Yeah, they're not going to test things. I mean, that's expensive, and if it doesn't say it's on there's no reason. I mean, if somebody gives you whey protein powder, well, hey, let's test this and make sure that it doesn't have Clomid in it or whatever.
It would take weeks to get it back, and it would cost thousands of dollars. And if you're doing that for every UFC fighter. So, yeah, that's my whole thing. I'm like, even if I would have told you guys I took it, you guys would have read the label and gave me the okay. Mm-hmm. Right? Because we're allowed to have what's in Viagra and Cialis in us. Those are actually allowed to. But because mine was tainted and I didn't ask, they were just like, well, you never asked, so we're going to suspend you. So I don't really know why they decided to go ahead with the full maximum punishment. But I tend not to just question things. I'm really young, and you know, I believe that my best years, my prime, is even still ahead of me. So I'm not even tripping about it. I'm like, you know, whatever. Like, you know, I believe in God, so I try to always point things back towards God. And I'm just saying, well, you know, maybe this is just God's plan for me. Maybe I need this time away from the sport, just to continue working on my own personal development and growth as a man. And I do believe I'm in a good place right now. So I'm excited to see where I'll be in July, when it's time for me to actually compete again.
When in July are you released?
I think around July. When was UFC 200? July 8th? July 5th?
No, UFC 200 was December 10th or 11th? December 11th?
UFC 200?
No, that was, I'm sorry. That was UFC 205. UFC 200 was July 9th.
Okay, so July 7th I'll be eligible to fight. 2 days before UFC 200. July 7th, 2017, I'll be able to compete. And I'd like to fight right in July.
Yeah, there's a big UFC July 4th card that we put on every year, but you're going to miss that. What do you think now when you look at the UFC title picture? Cormier just had to pull out. He injured himself, and Rumble Johnson decided not to fight Mousasi. He decided to step back and wait for Cormier.
I don't blame him.
Yeah.
I don't blame him. I think that's a smart idea. Mousasi is capable. He's a very smart fighter of beating Rumble Johnson, and
it's a high risk, low return.
Yeah, low return. Why do you need to beat Mousasi?
Yeah. The title fight picture is sort of waiting. A lot of it is waiting on you. That's a big part of it.
Yeah,
waiting on you to return.
Yeah, I'm excited to go back and get my baby.
Have they had conversations with you about when you do return, what kind of fight you would have? Would you go right to a title fight? Would you fight a contender?
No one has spoken to me about whether I get an immediate shot or whether they make me fight at least once or twice before. Or no, I have no clue what they're actually planning on doing. But
how often do you communicate with the UFC?
I literally haven't spoken to Dana White since like a week before UFC 200.
Now that the UFC's been sold.
Well, actually, not a week before. Fight week of UFC 200, yes. Anyways.
Now the UFC's been sold and there's these new owners. What's your thoughts on all this? I'm
excited to get to know the new owners of the UFC. I've had a few interactions with Ari before, but obviously I've never dealt with him on a business level. But I'm excited. I do miss Lorenzo Fertitta. I think I had a great relationship with him. He was always the calm, cool, collected one, the one I could actually, like leave emotion behind and like really have a good conversation with. So, we had a great relationship in that way. But I'm excited about the new leadership.
Yeah, it's interesting, right? It's a new chapter, and there's a lot of who knows. That's what gets exciting, and they're obviously very entertainment business savvy, and see where it leads to.